I wanted to give you an update on the shop stuff I've been working on and be able to show you the things I was talking about on the phone. However, I've had 2 side quests since then that I also want to show you. See, I needed this panel, but it was buried in my panel stock. I was going to literally have to move 2/3 of what I had just to reach it, so I figured while I was doing that, I would actually organize it and inventory it. That took all of yesterday because I had to move a ton of wood. Literally, I did the math. It was a ton. But now I have a digital inventory of all of the panels, which is going to be great for future projects because I can figure out what stock I have that'll fit the project, or even alter a project to use up scraps. What caused the original problem was I had 2 big stacks of panels and one was behind the other, making it inaccessible. I figured out I could move a shelf that I have and store some wood behind it, and that meant I still had the 2 stacks, but now there's an empty space in between them that I can pull a panel into when I need it. So now I had my panel. I was ready to go, except that I went to set up another temporary outfeed table for the table saw. I need these when I'm cutting the long panels so that they support the weight of the panel and it doesn't fall off the back of the table saw. And I decided this was the right time to build a more permanent outfeed table. I have this modular workbench base. I just have the one right now. I'm going to end up building 5 or 6 of these. The idea is that I can build different things to go on top of it and swap them out as I need it. And so the table saw outfeed table seemed like a good starting point. Here you can see the frame. It just sits on top. That's also why there's the pieces that are currently clamped on and drying. They just kind of guide it so it stays centered, but the whole thing lifts off. And I just used some OSB to make a top for it. So now I can set it up to work as an outfeed table, and the things will go onto there instead of falling off and potentially causing me harm or pulling me into a saw blade. Which finally brings me to what I wanted to show you, what I was talking about on the phone. See, the drawer has this joint called a rabbet. You can see it in the corner there. You cut halfway through the board, and you cut exactly as wide as the matching board is. And here you can see how that fits together. But it creates all of these weird dimensions. So I know what size I want the inside of the drawer to be, and I know the thickness of the plywood. So those long sides end up being the inside of the drawer plus 1 wall thickness, and the short sides end up being the inside plus 2 wall thicknesses. Having the digital model made it much easier for me to work that out. In fact, sitting in front of the model, I came up with these instructions. The top half defined all of those dimensions, and the bottom half defines the order of operations to reduce the number of table saw setups. For a lot of dimensions, they don't need to be super accurate. For instance, the depth of the drawer is 14 inches, but if it's off by 1/4 of an inch, I don't really care. It is, however, very important that whatever depth they are is used consistently throughout the project. To do that, I make these reference sticks from scrap wood. Each one has a mark on it that indicates that it's a reference piece. That's the X with the 4 dots. I then write the year and month and the project name. I may have projects with similar names in the future, so it helps differentiate them. And of course, I write what they're referencing, and I measure it and write down the actual length. I really love that piece in the lower right-hand corner. It actually provides 4 different reference measurements. I also bought a pack of 5,000 multicolored dot stickers. I'm using these to indicate which project a piece of wood is part of. But unlike the reference pieces, the blue dots go on every single piece. The 2 in this picture that don't have dots, they do have dots, they're just on the other side. With a shop full of wood, this has been so helpful in being able to quickly find pieces that are a part of the project, as well as knowing which pieces are scrap that can be used for something else. Looking at this picture again, you can see all the dots there. Here's a bunch of stock. Some of it has only been cut to 1 dimension, but I still put the blue dot on it so that I don't think it's scrap that I can use in another project. That would be those 8-foot boards. The cabinet's going to be like 3 feet tall. And that panel that kicked all of this off, you can see I put 4 blue dots on it. That was to let me know where the cuts were going to go, so that when I was done, there should be a blue dot in the center of each board.